Greetings, brothers and sisters, and welcome. I'm very happy to be presenting on this topic that's dear to me, the power of reasoning, as well as exploring the teachings of Hypatia of Alexandria, a creative thinker who exemplified this attribute. Reasoning, a natural ability we're all endowed with, is very important because it is through reasoning we make our day-to-day decisions. These decisions, when acted on, can affect our lives. The actions we take from our decisions can impact our relationships, our health, our finances, our career, and all aspects of our lives. By taking a moment to explore how we use reasoning to make a decision, we can improve its quality and outcome. Let me share with you a personal story to show how I reasoned through a decision that impacted my life. 2 years ago, I was asked to present on a health topic of my choice to a medical group at a hospital. I chose to present on the wellness of the inner self. I led the group through a meditation which was not well received by one of the attendees, so I reasoned that my future presentations will be without meditations. Shortly thereafter, to my surprise, I received another invitation from the leadership of that hospital requesting my assistance in the development of a wellness program, which will include meditations. This opportunity allowed me to reevaluate my reasoning, see the flaws, and make improvements. By so doing, I realized that I could modify my presentation so everyone could enjoy it. The moral of this story is that when we take the time to evaluate how we reason through a decision we act on, we see the weaknesses and strengths in them and can make improvements. Was there a time you decided to give up on a service you love doing because you didn't get your desired outcome? Could the reasoning process be improved? Would the outcome have been different? Now, let us look at what is reasoning. How does reasoning affect decision? How can we improve our reasoning? We'll examine the works of Hypatia of Alexandria, a renowned philosopher and creative thinker with great intellectual ability, and see how we can best learn from her. Finally, we will do an attunement meditation with Hypatia for problem solving. Hypatia of Alexandria lived from 370 to 410 CE in Alexandria, Egypt, and was of Greek descent. She was a renowned mathematician, a Neoplatonic philosopher, and creative thinker who demonstrated great ability to reason and was known for her use of logic. She was extremely influential in Alexandria at a time when women held little influence. We know of Hypatia from the letters of her most famous student, Synesius of Cyrene. Hypatia was the daughter of Theon of Alexandria, a mathematician and the librarian of the Great Library of Alexandria. Theon refused to impose on his daughter the traditional role assigned to women, but instead raised his daughter by teaching her his profession. Hypatia surpassed many thinkers of her time in knowledge and wisdom, and obtained a chair in mathematics and philosophy in the Platonic school of Alexandria. She further developed the works of her predecessors, Plotinus and Labitius, by adding a scientific and methodical dimension to their ideas. Hypatia's followers came from far and wide, and she taught them all related sciences. She was known for her depth of knowledge and thought. She showed a great ability to think through problems and toss some apparent obstacles. Some of her students held high government positions. Her advice was sought by government members such as Orestes, the prefect of Alexandria. In her era, there were very few people who manifested as much intelligence and depth of knowledge with great nobility as Hypatia did. She was very modest, exceptionally beautiful, and had a radiant personality. She was a great teacher and wise counselor. She made complex math easier for her students to understand. She was known to have constructed the astrolabe and hydrometer, although she did not invent them. She also made commentaries on Apollonius Cons and the Amages. Hypatia urged her followers to think for themselves, saying, "Reserve your right to think, for even to think wrongly is better than not to think at all, because a thinking person can correct their thoughts." Today, a statue of Hypatia can be found in the City of Culture and Art at the new administrative capital of Egypt. She also has an important place in the work of art known as the Dinner Party in the Brooklyn Museum. Her place setting at the table consists of materials, motifs, and weaving techniques from the Coptic style in her time. The butterfly image on the plate gives an illusion of motion attributed to Hypatia's attempt to break free from the constraints imposed upon so many women at her time. Embroidered on the back of the runner are 4 crying faces from youth to old age, suggesting that she stood for women of all ages. Also shown is a blood image with 4 limbs pulled in different directions, signifying the brutality of Hypatia's death and conflict created by her religious belief. An image of Hypatia's face is shown with her mouth covered in a band that, according to the creator of the dinner party, Judah Chicago, represents her silencing and the deliberate muting of other powerful women. What can we learn from Hypatia? How do we reason? Hypatia is known for her knowledge and depth of reflections. She demonstrated a remarkable ability to reason and use logic. In our Rosicrucian teachings, we learned that there are 3 ways of reasoning. Inductive reasoning is when your thought process goes from a specific idea to a general conclusion, from an observation to a theory. For example, in the story I shared with you earlier, I learned that someone did not like a part of my presentation. I reasoned that I have the ability to change my presentation so everyone can enjoy it. I concluded that I should change my future presentations. Another example might be, I observed that a Chinese restaurant in New York was full of Chinese families. Therefore, I induced that the restaurant food must be authentic and good. Deductive reasoning consists of taking logical steps forward from the primary idea to its conclusion, often moving from a theory to a confirmation of an observation. For example, in my case, I thought I should change my presentation because someone did not like a part of it. I found out the part that they did not like. I decided to change that part of my presentation. Another example would be when you decide to visit a relative. If the relative lives 20 minutes away and you agree to meet at noon, you deduce that you need to leave at 11:40 a.m. to make it on time. Syllogistic reasoning is a combination of deductive and inductive. Syllogistic reasoning is commonly employed by most of us. It is based upon a premise, a statement, and conclusion. If the premise is inaccurate, the conclusion drawn might be inaccurate. For example, only stones sink in water. This thing sinks in water. This thing is a stone. Why is it important to understand how we reason? By understanding how we reason, we can evaluate our reasoning and see the strengths and weaknesses in our decisions and improve them. In deductive reasoning, the weakness or strength is in the process of analysis. In inductive reasoning, the weakness or strength is in the idea. Hypatia believed that through a developed reasoning ability, we can attain liberation and freedom from the mental constraints that limit our creative faculties. Hypatia challenges us to continually use and develop our reasoning abilities so we may have better outcomes in our decision making that will lead us to a happier, more fulfilled life. Fratres and sorors, let us now proceed with an attunement meditation with Hypatia of Alexandria for problem solving. Brothers and sisters, let us now proceed with our attunement meditation with Hypatia of Alexandria for problem solving. Sit relaxed, spine straight and hands on claps on your thighs. Take slow, deep breaths. As you breathe in, feel the muscles of your body begin to relax. Now visualize Hypatia sitting in front of you. You have come here to seek her advice on an issue. Relate the issue and see her listening to you attentively. After you're done relating the issue, wait for any impressions you may receive. Now see her take her exit. You then notice a whiteboard in front of you in the far corner. Project the issue onto the whiteboard. And using an eraser, proceed with erasing the issue. Now project onto the whiteboard how it will look if the issue were resolved. How it will feel if the issue were resolved. And how it will impact others involved and humanity at large. If it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be.